What's up, hockey fans and hockey fanatics out there? Welcome to the Hockey Lounge, episode 19. It is Wednesday, July 28th, 2021, 9 p.m., and we're rocking the lounge live tonight. Free agent frenzy. The bell went off at 12 p.m. this afternoon, and let me tell you, the movements, the wheeling and dealing, the signings, crazy day today, App. Again, I have my wingman in house tonight in the lounge. Apple, what's going on?
What a crazy day. So much money and so many guys moving around. Insanity.
Right. Crazy. At 6 p.m. tonight, there was 100 players signed. There was 192 years given and almost 540 plus million spent today.
Wow. Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And this is supposed to be, we're through a pandemic, flat cap, and one GM said today in the media in this conference, free agent conference, he's like, I thought the general managers learned from a couple of years back. No. So not sure if they learned anything, because today they were opening their wallets like we open up the wallets for the kids here. So so your thoughts of the day? I know that again, you're a happy guy. You have your Devils hat on. Big day for New Jersey. They got the big fish in the pond. Well, they signed him. I think it was official around 6 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock tonight. Your thoughts on Dougie Hamilton, a New Jersey Devil?
Well, yeah, I was, as you know, as I was speaking to you all day, I was getting kind of nervous as the day went on because this thing was never becoming official.
Right.
Apparently, the contract is structured really weird. He's got a lot of guaranteed money, a lot of bonus money, and that's what they were haggling over. Because the first it came out at 60 mil, then it ends up being 63. So I think there was a lot of haggling there. Yeah, there was a lot of surprise moves today. We were talking off air about that Grubauer thing, and just it was crazy. Like, how did you keep up with it all day, Nick? Because I know I was having.
You can follow us on Instagram on the Hockey Lounge, and this nonsense started around 7:30 this morning. You had all the insiders reporting, this guy's signing here, this guy's signing there before the 12 p.m. Bell rang to sign players, and it just got crazy on Instagram, Twitter. It was hard to keep up with, but this is why we have the show tonight. We're going to go over some signings, break down some of the bigger names that got signed, a lot of different transactions out in the hockey league tonight. But first, we want to dive in. We were talking about this before we got on live here. We want to dive into a couple of transactions and a couple of trades that happened yesterday. And the big trade that rocked the hockey world yesterday was Marc-Andre Fleury from the Vegas Knights getting traded to the Chicago Blackhawks. And the way this went down, it's pretty disgusting. I've lost total respect for the Vegas Knights, for their management, their coaching staff, the way they just handled the Vezina Trophy winner of this year, Marc-Andre Fleury, and he found out about the trade via Twitter. I just find it totally disgusting. Your thoughts on that?
I'm on board 100% with you. That was brutal. They just. A player like that is so well respected in hockey, and every single teammate he's played with has just had nothing but good things to say about him. Mm-hmm. They made him the face of the franchise. He was selling tickets before they even hit the ice for the first game ever. And just for him to find out like that, and to even just the gall of trading him, even to not even to talk to him like one-on-one and say, yeah, we had some talk that there might be movement. But I mean, I think if you're going to do that to a guy like that, you want to have his buy-in, not to Chicago. He doesn't want to go play in Chicago. Who are we kidding here? He's not going to play a game for them. It's just, you're right. I'm totally disgusted. And you being an ex-Pens fan, I'm sure you love him as much as I love Marty. And it's just like, it must hurt you.
Well, the biggest thing I think, just listening to all the media outlets in Pittsburgh today and yesterday, and just the media outlets in general, TSN, Sportsnet, everybody, Instagram, Twitter. One of the biggest things that everybody's talking about is there was a deal in place last October for Fleury to be traded to Pittsburgh. Rutherford and McCrimmon, whoever it was at the time, was GM of the Vegas Knights. They had an agreement. The deal was done. Fleury was happy. They were going to move on. The owner, Bill Foley, got involved, said Fleury's the face of the franchise. Love the guy. He's going to finish his career here in Vegas. And what do? 8 months, 9 months later, they trade the guy without even telling him. They trade the guy to a team he doesn't want to go to, like you said, App. And I think the biggest frustration out there today is the fact that you have a guy that's moving in on Patrick Waugh's record. You have a guy that still has 2 or 3 years left of really good hockey, and you've put him into a situation, App, where, you know, he even talked about it yesterday. You know, he thanked the Vegas organization, the fans. He might contemplate retiring after this. You know, a lot of people think, App, that he has 1 year left. Does he go to Chicago for that 1 year?
I don't think so. I don't think he does. If I was in his situation, I wouldn't either. And again, him thanking the Vegas organization, that's his class again. Mm-hmm. Like, even though he got treated like absolute shit, if you ask me, in this whole situation, he still has the class to thank them for everything. Meanwhile, he originally, to me, put them on the map. And I just think, so to answer your question, no, I don't think he plays a game for Chicago. Chicago hopefully is going to flip him somewhere. I'm sure they're going to try and screw somebody to get a lot back for him, because I really think he can help a team. He showed last year, and he showed it in the playoffs as well. The guy can still play. Mm-hmm. He can definitely still play. And there are teams out there that he can definitely help.
Right, but he was on a radio station in Pittsburgh last week, and you know, I don't want to go too on about Fleury here, because we're going to dive into another trade I'm not sure if you probably know this trade too. We'll get into it, but I didn't see this trade until now. So Fleury was on a show last week in Pittsburgh, and he said that there's 2 places that he wants to finish his career. And he said he loves it in Vegas. He would prefer to stay in Vegas. His family loves Vegas. He's got kids. They love it there. And then he said to the Pittsburgh media guy, and you know the other place. So he didn't say Pittsburgh, but again, you know, that was pretty clear. The writing was on the wall. There's only 2 places really he wants to play. His wife, himself, his family, they grew up in Pittsburgh. He went there at 18, and then he went to Vegas, and he loved it there. That being said, he got screwed. I feel sorry for the guy. He deserves better. But if you go back to what they did to Gerard Gallant after they won the Stanley Cup, they fired the guy for no reason. They brought in DeBoer. DeBoer is not a Fleury guy. Then they traded for Leonard. The writing was starting to get on the wall for this guy. And unfortunately, he got treated like a piece of meat yesterday. Hopefully, Marc-Andre Fleury, that, you know what, you land in a place that you're comfortable, your family wants to go there, and all the best to you, buddy. Because you know what? I met you once. Your first year, you were at Frozen Pond signing autographs. Great guy. And he was 18 years old then. He took a picture with every kid, every person there. He signed an autograph. He's a class act. So we have Teeps. Apple is the real celebrity of this show. That's what he said. Thanks, Teeps. Thanks, Teeps. You know what? I'll get you for that one. Thanks, bud. Well, for anybody that doesn't know, like, Apple is the insider and Dana White of the Hockey Lounge. So, man, he wears multiple hats here for the lounge. So the other trade, Tyler Johnson going to Chicago for Brent Seabrook, which is retired, supposedly. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we know the writing was on the wall for Johnson. They've been trying to dump him for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. And you figure after the playoffs, you know, when everybody caught on to what Tampa was doing, that they had to get rid of these contracts and move on from them. And from Chicago's end, again, here we are, we're talking about Chicago again. It's a good pickup for Chicago, but we were talking off air, me and Nick, about what we think is going to happen. So, Nick, you give your point of view, because I don't want to steal your thunder now.
So my thunder with this is, and Teeps, listen to this, okay? Because if you're watching and you're saying Apple's the real deal, which he is, that's fine. But my theory here is that, yes, Brent Seabrook is retired. He's damaged goods. The guy's, injured all over his body, similar to like a Shea Weber here. But the thing is this: what if he decides he wants to play hockey once the playoffs come? Do the Tampa Bay Lightning slide in another guy? And he was a top 4D when the Hawks won the cup. He hasn't been the same since. But let's just say Brent's training at home. Brent's on the ice getting ready for his comeback as a Tampa Bay Lightning. And maybe he's paired up with the Bogosian man, Zach Bogosian, because he's back too. So, App, what are your thoughts on that? Because I don't know.
I'm in agreement with you. This reeks of Tampa Bay circumventing the rules again. I agree 100% with it. And if you're Seabrook and you got traded to Tampa and you know that they're a contender next year, whether we think they're going to win the cup or not, they're going to be there somewhat near the end. He could pick up another cup, so he's motivated to get back playing hockey. So yeah, I'm on board 100% with you. I think he's going to play in the playoffs. I really do.
Right. So, just looking at some other trades that happened the last couple of days, just some of the bigger ones. You have Jacob Voracek going to the Jackets for Cam Atkinson. I think, Voracek came from the Jackets. To be honest with you, that's where he started, and Atkinson is a decent player. What do you think of that one?
I just think it's two guys that need a new scenery. Atkinson's a little bit younger. I think I like what Philly did with that trade.
Yeah.
But I honestly think it's just giving two guys somewhere to go to fresh outlook. That's all.
Yeah. Then you have Sam Reinhart going to the Panthers from the Buffalo Sabres. But you know what? I do like this move somewhat. Julian, thanks for watching, buddy. He says flowers of beauty. He definitely is, man. So Devon Levy and a first-round draft pick going to Buffalo. Levy played for, or Levi, however you want to say it, played for the World Junior team last Christmas. I think he's a good goalie, good prospect. But again, Buffalo's trading, their star players. What the hell's going on there?
I don't get it, man. Honestly, I don't understand that team. I understand the whole thing with Eichel's going downhill, and he's probably going to be moved within the next week. But now Reinhart as well, and you really didn't get any NHL talent back for him.
Right.
Like unless they get something substantial back for Eichel, I don't understand. Like they're losing two major offensive pieces. I don't know what they're doing there. I honestly don't.
Yeah. Well, you know what? If I'm Shane Wright of the Kingston Frontenacs, you know what? You might be taking the QEW, buddy.
They might.
I'm just telling you, right? Like they might be setting up for this. They got Owen Power, they got Darlene on the back end. Right?
How many guys are they going to screw up? Some people. I think guys are going to be getting scared to go to Buffalo.
Yeah. Right. A couple moves that the Jets made up. I like it. I think they shored up their D. They got Brandon Dillon from the Washington Capitals. A decent 5 guy. Plays a rugged style. The Jets needed to shore up their D. And then they traded this morning or yesterday for Nate Schmidt late last night. Another guy that, decent defenseman. So Jets made a little bit of noise here. And they also re-signed Paul Stastny to I think a 1-year deal, I think it is. So,
I think the Jets had a good week. Last year, I remember they got roasted in the media at the in free agency, but But I think these two moves really solidifies the defense, like you said. They got a nice veteran presence back there.
Mm-hmm. And then looking back, starting today, Nikita Zadorov going to the Calgary Flames from the Chicago Blackhawks. Again, I'm not understanding. The Hawks are trading for Fleury. They're getting Tyler Johnson, and then they trade one of their better D for a 2022 third-round draft pick. So, not sure there.
I don't get it either.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening in Chicago.
I understand Calgary's motivation because they might be trying to fill a little bit of a gap that Mark Giordano left.
Yeah.
But I don't understand what the Hawks are doing with that one.
Yeah. Ethan Bear going from Edmonton to Carolina for Warren Fogle. I like that trade, probably for both teams. I think Forgo brings a little bit of spicy game to the Oilers, which they need. And then Ethan Bear looks like he's going to be a decent top 6 defenseman in the league.
Yeah, they got and they re-signed. I know you're talking about trades now, but I mean they got Ian Cole. They got and they even got D'Angelo. And I know D'Angelo's got his off-ice problems or whatever the issue is with him. I seen him a few games last year, and he looked pretty good. So Carolina, they added 3 defensemen and 2 goalies, which isn't that bad. But yeah, I think Ethan Bear is really going to help them. They had to free up cap space in Edmonton, right? Because they re-signed Barry and got Hyman,
right,
for over $5 million a year.
It's crazy, and we'll get to those guys there. And this is the one that I didn't see today. It must have just flew over my head here. Will Butcher went to the Sabres.
Yeah. It was a cap. Yeah. It was just a cap dump.
Cap dump for.
Yeah, he wasn't gonna play. From what I've seen from him, he's just too slow of a defenseman. I honestly don't think he's gonna make it in the NHL at all. I don't even think he's gonna make the Sabres team. He's very slow coming out of his own end.
So Julian said, he's got a comment up here. He says, do you ever understand what Bowman is doing? Laughing out loud. Yeah. Not sure. They're going through that bad publicity with the off ice stuff. And now, the Fleury thing, I'm not sure what's happening in Chi-Town right now. Interesting trade from the Senators to the Knights. Dandonoff goes from the Senators to the Knights. Another forward for Nick Holden. Holden, I think, is a decent D for the Senators. Gives them some extra options. And then you have, we were just talking about this, Seattle Kraken trading back Vitek Vanacek back to the Washington Capitals after signing their big splash today, Philip Grubauer, for the Seattle Kraken. So free agent frenzy app, crazy day today, a lot of money being spent, a lot of the years being given up here. And so let's dive into this because, we talked prior today, we were texting back and forth. We're like, there's a lot of stuff to talk about tonight, a lot of coverage, a lot of names. So let's talk about the big studs that were out in the market early today and where they went. And we'll start off again, there's actually a name app that nobody talked about today, and he is still ranked number 1 on the NHL free agency tracker for the top 50 UFAs. And you give me that face, right? And that fucking face was the face that when I missed a pass, you used to give that to me all the time. But anyways, Tuukka Rask.
Yep.
He is number 1. Do you know the background on that?
No, I don't.
So,
what's the story?
So this is the story. Yeah. Like I had to dig into this. I actually talked to my son tonight. I'm like, dude, what happened with Tuukka Rask? What's happening here? He's not on, he wasn't on the trade bait board for TSN or Sportsnet. Nobody was talking to him, but he is there. So my son told me, he's like, Dad, Tuukka told the Bruins and the NHL teams out there, I'm only playing for Boston. That's it. So don't even try to sign me. So there you go. But the interesting thing, though, is Allmark is now a Boston Bruin, and he signed to some heavy money. I think it's $5 million a year.
$5 million a year for 4 years. Yep.
So that's not backup goalie money.
No, I don't think they're going back to Rask. I really don't. I think if that's his stance, he's going to end up retiring. Because I'm with you. I think Allmark's going to be their number 1 goalie.
Right.
Remember, I talked about Allmark on the show before on my GM when I was the GM of Colorado. I had Allmark as my backup.
Yeah.
But I mean, in Boston's situation, I think Allmark's definitely the starter right now. Right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a big one because if you look at Tuukka Rask, he was number 1 on the top 50 UFA players available. Interesting. At number two, and this is the Sporting News, okay, that I'm getting this information from. This is not my top 50 guys, ladies out there. Number 2 is Blake Coleman on the Sporting News list, and he went to the Calgary Flames for a hefty price. How much did he cash in for today, Blake Coleman?
Oh, Nick, now you got me.
Okay.
Caught me off guard with the dollars and cents.
Hold on. So we're gonna get into it right now. I'm just gonna pull it up because I had the other transactions up, but let's get into this right now.
He got 4.9 a year for 6 years.
Yeah. 6 years.
At 4.9 each.
Yeah, at 4.9 each. So we're talking like this guy's now a $5 million player almost for 6 years. And I believe Blake Coleman's 29, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, he's 29. So you're talking, 35 years old. I like Blake Coleman, but
no, I wouldn't definitely pay that money or that term. Right. This could possibly be your David Clarkson, a free agent signing where a team just made a man really rich.
Right, for sure. And then you go into Julian says Coleman's so overpaid him. Hyman and Deneau way overpaid as well. Coleman, he also puts Coleman, Hyman, Deneau, worst contracts just out today. And we're going to dive into that for sure. We'll get into those contracts because we're going to go over this top 50 here, and then we'll dive into a couple names. Third on the list is Philip Grubauer, 6 years, $35.4 million. Your thoughts on Grubauer?
I think for a top goalie like that, I would have paid that. I think at $6 million, he's getting paid a little less than Rask was with his last contract with Boston. So if he's the real deal like he was last year, I think it's well worth it. Only time's going to tell with all these guys anyway. Half of them are probably going to flop and not be worth the money. They're not. Hopefully it's not Hamilton. But anyway, time will tell. Like the guy I feel really bad for is Dredger.
Yeah, I know.
About this. Like he came out, he posed in the jersey and everything for the fans, and he was like the Marc-Andre Fleury for them, who was going to be the face or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And now he's the backup.
But the interesting thing too is, and like we were saying, is that until 7:30, the Avalanche did not have a starting goalie.
Yep.
So they were playing with fire. Because they're on the verge of, something really good there.
Yeah.
With no goalie. And we'll get into that transaction when it comes to. So Darcy Kemper is now a Colorado Avalanche. He got traded from Arizona to Colorado. So now they have their number one guy. I really like Kemper's game. Played well last year. I think he's a solid. I really think they're very comparable goalies.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah. So,
sorry, Nick. It was a big gamble on Colorado's part. 14 goalies changed teams today before Kemper, and they had to go trade for this guy.
Right.
I thought Arizona could have possibly got more because Colorado was desperate. Like their fan base must have been going crazy tonight.
All I thought, to be honest with you, is Marc-Andre Fleury going to Colorado. I go, you know what? Because again, they're on the verge of Stanley Cup probably. You add Fleury, he's a way upgrade than Grubauer, right? Was a call made? Not sure what's happening there, right?
Yeah.
Fourth on the list, on the top 50, and we're not going to go over all the 50 here, but fourth on the list is your boy, number 19 of the New Jersey Devils, Dougie Hamilton. 9 million candies a year for a guy that has played in Boston, Calgary, Carolina. He was drafted by the Toronto Maple Leafs. 9 million up.
Free agency, you always overpay for everybody. And I figure, like I told you this before, if you're going to overpay, at least you overpay for the biggest guy that was available out there. On many boards, he was ranked number one. I know on the board that you're reading from the Sporting News, he wasn't. But I mean, a lot of ones out there had him in it. Look, he if you look at it from a Devils perspective, we've got PK Subban on the books. This is his last year. He's also making $9 million. So basically, as of next year, you're replacing one for the other. Dougie's younger. He's probably going to be less of a distraction to the organization than Subban is, because as we all know, Subban just wants to be on social media and on TV and all this other shit.
Yeah.
So, like, the Devils are still going to have the cap space next year. They're adding $9 million of cap space again next year. So, look, do I think he's worth $9 million? No. Do I think most players in the NHL are worth $9 million? No. Like for me, I would have rather paid $9 million for Gabriel Landeskog than Dougie Hamilton.
Yes.
But it doesn't work that way. You start getting teams that want to bid with you and want to take him, because I heard Colorado was in the running for him.
Yeah.
Colorado was busting chops. They came in at the last minute and tried to steal him from under us and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You're going to overpay. He's a steady defenseman. He works your PP. He works your PK. He can gobble up minutes. I think the key thing is it knocks other guys. Sorry, Nick, I don't mean to be long-winded, but I mean, even the other guys on the pole, on the Devils, like it takes pressure off the other. Damon Severson doesn't have to play 22 minutes a game now. He's not a 22-minute game. He can drop down to the second pair now and just play his game. I think he makes the overall defense better. Like for me, you got Ryan Graves now. You got Severson. You got Ty Smith. You got your Subban, and like you got 5 solid NHL defensemen right there.
Right, and listen, I'm not saying that I agree. Like free agency, you got to outbid teams. I agree with you 100%. You're going to outbid them because they're the top dogs, right? But my thing is this: there's something about Dougie Hamilton app that I don't know if it's his body language on the ice, but sometimes that give a shit meter is not there. I don't know if you've again, I watched a lot of Carolina hockey this year, even when he was with Calgary. Sometimes he can be the best player on the ice, and then sometimes it's like, you know what, I'm here tonight, and I think that's been his downplay here, is because is his give a shit level all the way up all the time? And I think it's not, right? But like you said, it solidifies the Devils. I like the Ryan Graves pickup. I do like that. And the biggest point you made offline, App, which I didn't even realize, is PK Subban is done after this year, in terms of his contract. So like you said, that opens up another 9.5 for the Devils to play with.
Yeah. Like right now they're only 2 or 3 million above the floor. So I don't think Fitzgerald's done. Don't mean to go off topic, but I don't think Fitzgerald's done. No, I think I heard they were talking to Parise, and I think he's still hot after Tarasenko. Yeah. Like our oldest forward right now, Pavel Zacha, is 23 years old. We need to get a veteran forward in there to show these guys, which I think Parise or Tarasenko fits into.
Right.
So and then like you said, like if we go and get one of those guys for 5-6 mil, whatever it may be, I'm just throwing out numbers. Yeah. After you lose Subban's contract next year, you're back under the floor again. And there's a lot of kids in the system. So the Devils, I don't want to keep harping on because it's my team, but they're a very up and coming team, and it seems to be like people want to go there again, like it used to be in the 90s and the early 2000s.
Well, again, you got a great management team there. Like Fitzy, I wanted him to, he came from Pittsburgh. Unfortunately, Rutherford was rocking the pens at that time. But he was the guy that I wanted to see take over once Rutherford left. And he's got a game plan. He's got a plan, and he's going to stick to it. And that's what you want from a general manager. Yep. Next on the list again, and we're going to talk about this team a little bit here. We're going to dive into the Toronto Maple Leafs. A lot of viewers love those Leaf fans, but I think you guys today you took a step backwards. There's a lot of things I just don't get with this franchise, and today Doofus showed his colors again. So Zach Hyman, he is now an Edmonton Oiler. Yes, a lot of money, a lot of years, 7 years, 7 years at 38.5, $5 million plus a year. Your thoughts on Zach Hyman? We talked about him last week.
Yeah, that's too much money for me. I would have never spent that, and I don't blame the Leafs for not touching him.
Right.
But I mean, to not go out and get somebody to replace him, like these moves, like all they got was Mrazek, and I'm not the biggest fan of Freddie Anderson by far.
Yeah.
But to me, they're the same thing. They're exactly the same thing to me.
But I have to argue with that. With that app, I have to argue with that. I think Anderson is better than Mrazek. In my opinion.
You could be right, and I agree. And I was actually going to go on about Mrazek's game, and I'm watching his game, and he's a very aggressive goalie. So Mrazek, he'll look like the best goalie in the league for 10 games, and then he's the worst because of the way he plays. He's so aggressive, and he looks like he makes all these spectacular saves, and a lot of times it's because he's out of position. He gambles a lot. And I honestly don't think they upgraded the position that they needed upgrading most. Of all the goalies that were there that they could have chosen from, I don't know if I would have went Mrazek's way. I really don't.
You have a Stanley Cup goalie that's signed with Dallas, Holtby, 1 year, $2 million. 1 year, like, take a chance. Yeah, he wasn't good in Vancouver, but Vancouver wasn't good, and they went through COVID and everything like that. You can't even count last year for the Canucks, injuries and what. But a guy like Holtby, bring him in 1 year, sign him, Stanley Cup winner, right?
Yep.
If you're not going to go with Anderson, I'm not sure what they've done there. So you have Zach Hyman going to the Oilers. I do think I like Hyman for the Oilers, like more grittier. He can definitely play with top-notch players. You showed it here in Toronto with Matthews and Marner. Then you have Draisaitl and McDavid in Edmonton. So I do think that he'll fit in nicely there. It's a little bit more of a run-and-gun style, but they need some more sandpaper, and Zach Hyman will give you that. And he's another player up, just like Hamilton. You got to outbid to get who you want, and they paid a little bit more, but they got their guys. So we'll see what happens there. Tyson Barrie's going back to the Oilers. He signed for 3 years, $13.5 million. Really not much to say there. He had a decent year last year.
Yep. He had a good year last year compared to what he did in Toronto. He bet on himself with a 1 year deal.
Right.
He won.
Yeah. And he cashed in another good contract, right? So Peter Mrazek, we just talked about him, 3 years, $11.4 million. Now, on TSN today on their free agent coverage there, Jamie McLennan said, this is now a team that has two goalies that are going to play 50-50. Who's going to grab the pipes? It's the battle of the cages now. It's the battle between Campbell and Mrazek. Who's going to be the number one guy? There is no number one guy right now. So you are playing with fire if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs. What if Campbell shits the bed and Mrazek cannot play the minutes or the games that a number one goalie can play? I'm not sure what they were thinking here, but it's definitely a gamble.
Especially in that division. We're going back to the normal divisions.
Right.
They're gonna have to go through Tampa. They're gonna have to go through Boston, and Florida's improved. So there's gonna be hard games in there. And like you're saying, Nick, if Campbell shits the bed and Mrazek's got to play like 70-80% of the games, hard games against those kind of teams, and the rest of the league, because you're going to be playing everybody now.
Right.
You're right. They could be in trouble.
Yeah. So it's definitely I'm not sure what's happening, but it's definitely not the way that I thought that they were going to be going with Mrazek. Yeah. Montreal Canadiens, interesting today. I thought they'd made a couple decent moves. They addressed the back end with losing Weber to injury, but folks, Weber will be back for the playoffs if the Montreal Canadiens get in. So smart move by Marc Bergevin. He's taken a lot of heat that franchise has taken heat for their pick. Logan Mailloux on Friday night. I'm not even dive into that because we'll leave that to the other media to talk about there. But David Savard, good contract, 4 years. Average, I think, is around 3.4, 3.5 for $14 million. I like that. Wow, the Buffalo Sabres I'll just tell all the viewers, they just signed Craig Anderson to a 1 year deal, $750,000. He was supposed to retire, but I guess he's coming back for another year with the Sabres. So, listen, Teeps, I got to tell you, you might think it's a stupid move by the Canadiens, but I like the move because what's going to happen here with the Canadiens if Weber decides to come back, their back end is going to be steady Eddie. They're going to have, let's say Weber comes back, they'll have Weber, they'll have Savard, Petrie, they have Romanov. They got some studs back there. They're going to be heavy on the back end, Carey Price. And then they go ahead and sign Mike Hoffman. Maybe a little bit too much for Hoffman, but he's great on the power play. The Habs need some offense. I like the moves they did today.
Yeah, even Paquette, getting Cedric Paquette. He was a great role player. He was key when Tampa won the Cup 2 years ago when he was with them.
And he signed for under $1 million. He signed for under $1 million, right?
Yeah, I think Montreal did. I think Bergevin did good work today.
Yeah. So Teeps said talking about the draft pick, 100%. That was, he would have been available the 7th round, whatever round. And then finally, Teeps just wants to say one more thing about the Habs. So there you go.
I
Yeah.
want to put my 2 cents in about the draft pick. I just think it was. I just don't understand. I understand the flack they're getting. It's just it was so disrespectful to the victim in this case.
Yeah.
And not just that. Going back to hockey, the player asked for nobody to draft him.
Right.
Yeah, he would have been there in future rounds for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But what if you're a team that wanted to take him and you
Right.
decide, okay, this kid doesn't want to be in the draft. He wants to get his head on straight. We're not going to take him. How many general managers in the league are pissed off for Montreal doing this after the kid said he didn't want to be drafted?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I want to say about that. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, listen, you know what? That's a can of worms, and really, you know what? It's just an unfortunate situation all the way around there for the victim, for everybody involved. So especially the victim. But so the Montreal Canadiens again made some good moves. You know, Savard and Hoffman. Moving on, you know, Alex Martinez re-upped with the Knights. Again, solid defenseman, good move by the Knights, even though the Knights are dirtbags. And that's going to be their name, the Vegas Dirtbags going forward for the entire season. They are the Dirtbags. You know what? I hope DeBoer loses. So does Momo in the back. She wants them to lose too.
Yeah,
she's back. She loves the lounge, man. She wants to be on it, right?
Yeah, for sure. She's still, she doesn't like DeBoer either, because when he coached us, we didn't do shit either. So no, she took us to the cup final.
Took us to the cup final, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And then actually that was against the Rangers. Martinez scored against the Rangers for the winner, right? I believe, right? Or was it against you?
Bro, what do you got to bring them up for? I don't want to talk about them.
All right.
Move on.
Yes. For people that know, App even had his his big flag in front of his house, right? People thought that the Devils were in his house instead of his actual team, a fan of the team. But so Freddie Anderson, Carolina Hurricane, they actually signed 2 goalies today. So they went with Mrazek and Delkovich in the playoffs. Now they got 2 new goalies, brand new, right. Anderson and Antti Ranta. Interesting.
I couldn't understand why they let Nedeljkovic go to start out with.
Yeah.
Ranta and I don't know. I don't know where their heads at either. They had a very promising year last year, and then some of these moves that they made this week just don't make any sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like even Bernier, they could have re-signed Bernier. I think Bernier is a better goalie than both of them. I'm not saying that for obvious reasons. He had a good look. Bernier had some pretty good numbers last year on a really shitty
Detroit. On Detroit, 100%.
He had a really shit team in front of him. So, I think. Well, anyway,
listen. I know you got the hat on, and of course, you know Bernier. But I think. Listen, at the end of the day, you know, Bernier is a solid backup, and he can play. He can play if you're. It's Wedgwood, right? Your guy, right?
Yeah.
Wedgwood is upcoming goalie. I love even
Wedgwood's a backup. Blackwood.
Sorry, Blackwood. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Blackwood, Wedgwood. They got all these Woods there. Randy Wood's going to be coming. Miles Woods. Everybody.
Kids on our team.
Yeah. It's just the Wood family over there, right? No, I like the Bernier signing for sure. It solidifies the back end for you guys because you have young goalies there, right?
Well, they tried it. They tried it last year with Corey Crawford, right? They signed Corey Crawford, and then he went and retired before the season started.
Yeah.
So I think he just wanted to get some backup solidification, like you said.
For sure, I like it. But interesting, another guy that has not been signed yet is David Krejci of the Boston Bruins. So he's still out there. I'm sure he's demanding a good penny. So he's out there. Another guy that Kyle Palmieri, Islanders reported. So did he re-up with the Islanders app? Do you know?
No, he hasn't officially signed.
Okay.
I was actually going to bring that up. I was actually going to bring that up to you that it's very quiet on the island. Like him and Cizikas, you don't even hear their names being talked about like they're negotiating with anybody.
Cizikas wants $5 million up.
Blake Coleman got $5 million.
I know, but you're talking about it like Blake Coleman can he's more of a guy that can do everything and put the puck in the net. Like Cizikas is.
You don't think Cizikas will get it from somebody?
Oh, for sure, 100%. Somebody's going to pay. Yeah, I agree. Right.
I don't think it'll be Lou because he usually doesn't give contracts like that.
Right.
But
Right. And then the Kyle Palmieri's still out there, another guy that's out there. Nick Foligno. So this is really interesting because he didn't sign for big dough. Okay. What did Nick sign for today? Let's just check here the TSN transactions here. Just double check when, because 1 second here, the Boston Bruins, because that was a late signing here. So Foligno, just bringing it up here. Boom, boom, boom. Got a cap friendly here. Let's see if they got Nick Foligno up here.
Yeah, because on TSN it's only showing that he signed for 2 years, but it doesn't have a dollar amount.
Yeah. So we'll get you Nick's right now. We'll talk about that 1 second here, guys. So Foligno, where are you?
Yeah, so the talk was that Foligno was still in talks with the Leafs.
Yeah.
He was actually still talking to them, and he wanted to come back to Toronto, but it never ended up working out. And now I heard a report. Elliot Freeman reported late today that the Leafs have $3.5 million in cap space yet left, and they're saving it for a forward. They want to add a forward either now with the remaining free agency or during the season.
3.8 a year he signed up. So, but don't you find it interesting though that the Leafs traded for him? They wanted him bad, and at 3.8 they didn't re-up on this guy.
Yeah, it goes back to what we're saying, man. What the Leafs are doing are strange.
Yeah,
it's strange. I don't understand.
Very weird. Very weird. You have Brandon Saad. You know, he's again, experienced guy, cup winner, decent numbers. He's demanding anywhere, I believe, between 5 and 6. I know the Penguins are in talks with him. He is a Pittsburgh-born boy. Always wanted to wear the black and gold, but still nowhere to be. Very, very quiet on the Saad front today. Corey Perry, he has been offered a deal through the Canadiens. I guess he's mulling over maybe a couple, right? I heard that the Leafs are interested in Corey Perry. I heard that in the last couple of days. So, you know, he's another veteran guy. I did bring him on my Leaf team that won the cup. I think, again, if I'm a GM, I still think Perry's got some game left. The guy's been to back-to-back finals here. He's still playing good, right?
I agree with you, but if Tavares has got to walk in the dressing room and see him, he's going to get a headache.
Yeah, but hey, at the end of the day, Perry comes in, gives him a bottle of Tylenol or aspirin and say, hey, sorry, bud, right? So, yeah. But again, 2 London night boys. I'm sure they'll manage to work it out. Yaroslav Halak, Canucks, another, like, see, this is the crazy stuff. Like Halak, 1 year, 1.5. I like Halak. I think he's a good backup. He can play in maybe 20, 25 games, 30 games, you know, get you a few wins. He was solid with Boston last year. Interesting that Boston didn't bring him back. Keith Yandel, he went to the Flyers, 900,000. So the Flyers weren't active today, but they've been active with their trades.
Yeah, they got Yandel, even Ryan Ellis.
Yeah, Ruotsalainen.
Yeah, it's going to help that team and getting back Ruotsalainen and getting Atkinson in that trade for Voracek. Yeah. I think Atkinson's a little bit better. There's better upside than there is with Voracek, and even they solidified the goaltending with Martin Jones. Yeah. So yeah, they made a few moves. They made a few moves to make themselves a little bit better. The Flyers did.
Right. They brought in Martin Jones to be behind Carter Hart. Right. Yeah. I do think Martin Jones reeks. He does reek large, but he can be a good backup, I think. Right.
He needs to be, I think, because Carter Hart had some stretches last year where he looked lost.
Well,
I think they really need it.
He's the reason. Sorry to cut you off. He's the reason why the Flyers really stumbled last year. Right.
Yeah. Right. So I think they just wanted to give a veteran presence. Like I think they took Jones after a lot of the other goalies had signed.
Yeah.
So they kind of ran out of their options.
And like you said, what, 14 goalies signed today?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. Crazy.
Like they lost Elliott to Tampa. So I guess after they just went and looked to see what the next best thing they thought was. And
right. So we talked about Hoffman going to the Canadiens. I like that pickup a little bit too much money. You have Michael Granlund staying with the Predators, 4 years, 20 million, 5 million. Again, Granlund's a decent player. He's one of those guys, third line center. We talked about Hopi going to the Stars 1 year, $2 million. I like the pickup by the Bruins, Eric Halla going to the Bruins. Your thoughts on that?
Oh, it was a good pickup. I think Boston did well today as well. They had a pretty good day with Foligno, Halla, and Allmark. I think if their plan is to get rid of Rask, Allmark to me is not a bad guy to slot in there. And like you said, I think Krejci's in talks with them. He's another guy that says he only wants to play for Boston.
Yeah.
So I definitely think those couple of pickups were big pickups.
Mm-hmm. The Kraken app. We talked about it last week on our podcast, the Thursday after the draft, and we both said that we think that they're going to be up to some stuff here, right? Yeah. They brought Grubauer in, and they also signed Jaden Schwartz to a 5-year, $27.5 million contract. So they're starting to open up their wallet. They had $30 million going into today for free agency. I definitely think they're not finished. I think that they'll be going after some guys that are available, maybe like a Brandon Saad, Zach Parise. Supposedly lose. I just read on a tweet here that the Islanders are aggressively going after Parise right now. So
are the Devils, from what I hear.
Yeah. James Neal was bought out by the Oilers. He's out there. Thomas Tatar. Mark Bergeron did say that the Canadiens, the window's still not closed on him. They're going to look into that. We're looking at Linus Allmark. Again, this is a big move by the Boston Bruins, signing him to that deal of $5 million a year up. Tuukka Rask still not signed anywhere. Said he only wants to play for the Bruins. So, your thoughts on Allmark? Can he be the guy though for the Bruins to still make the playoffs? Is he that good?
I think he can. From what I've seen from him, I like him. I think he's a pretty steady goalie. Mm-hmm. Again, the Buffalo team that's just like in shambles. But I saw the Sabres a lot last year with the whole COVID stuff, and like we played them like 8 times, and like
I know
because we got COVID when they got COVID in the games with each other. We ended up playing 4 or 5 games in a row against them, and he stood on his head. He beat us every time. I think he's a good quality goalie, and I think with a structured team like Boston, with the guys they have in front of him, I think his numbers will even improve. So yeah, I think he is a number 1 goalie for that team. What do you think?
You know what? When you see guys that play on Buffalo, you really don't know what you're really going to get out of them. But again, I think he's a good goalie. I'm just not sure with the goalies the Bruins have had. Tim Thomas, and then passing it on to Tuukka Rask. Is he the guy that can lead Boston to, playoffs and deep into the playoffs? I don't know. He hasn't been in that situation yet, right? The coach of Boston, Cassidy, he plays a really systematical game. I really like his coaching. I always like the Bruins just the way they play the game the right way. They have some good D. Maybe, again, playing in front of a good D, he'll be fine. It'll be really interesting to see. I think, when you change 14 goalies, like you said, and the carousel was crazy today, Brodeur, the guy behind you, we've said it on a number of shows, it all starts at the back end. And with all these guys, changing teams today, it's really changed the landscape of the divisions, the teams. What are these teams going to be like? Teams are going to be riding on guys, coming maybe from a under 500 team, expecting them to make the playoffs. Different pressure, expectations. Can they handle that? So it's going to be interesting to see.
For sure.
Antti Ranta, again, going to the Hurricanes. We talked about him. Ryan Suter. This is unbelievable. Man, you know what? He's probably in his pool with the big, goose, right? Sipping a pina colada. This guy just cashed in. He just got bought out by the Wild.
Yep.
Now he just cashed in for 4 years at $14.6 million. He's laughing. He signed more than he's made more money the last week than some of these big guys like Dougie Hamilton made today. It's just absolutely crazy, right?
I don't get it. for Minnesota to cut ties with him, and he wasn't playing much in the playoffs, and he didn't make any impact on them at all.
Mhm.
Like for Minnesota to buy Parise and Suter out, that they have to pay against the cap for the next 4 years for the buyout.
Right.
Like I read today, Bill Guerin said that they can only offer players short-term contracts because the cap space is not the space is not available. Like they're handcuffed because of the Suter and Parise signings 7 years ago, whenever it was 7-8 years ago.
Yeah.
It's just, but you're right. I don't know. 4 years at 3.65 per. That's a lot of dough.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
I'm just bringing up the Wild here. Let me just get this up here. I just want to see what they're on. Just 1 second. I'll get to their franchise here, but we'll get into that later on. I just want to see what the cap hit is that they're paying out. Do you know offhand?
For who? Suter?
For Suter and Parise. What's how much are they?
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into that. I'll look into that. We'll get that at the end of the show.
What I wanted to ask you, Nick, is going off topic. Is Brock McGinn and Evan Rodriguez taking the Penguins back to the final, or what? Are you a happy man today?
Well, listen, hold on. The biggest signing for Pittsburgh is Simone, okay? And I call him Simon, coming back to the Penguins. Like, I'm telling you right now, this is my opinion here. And I'm gonna say it. Hextall was a Flyer. The Flyers reek. The Flyers have not won a cup since 1975, and he's bringing that fucking reekness to the Pittsburgh Penguins. So, Hextall, you better wake up, because he said today in the press conference today that Jari and DeSmith are his goaltenders. So, like, my biggest frustration is I'm glad you brought this up, because I was an angry Penguins fan today. I'm like, you have Sidney Crosby. He probably has 2-3 years left, right? Still good hockey. Okay. You have a Jenny Malkin. He had knee surgery. He's probably going to be out until maybe Christmas. They're saying like maybe the fall. But hey, if I'm Hexy, Kucherov, right?
Yeah.
Kuch, why not? Right?
Yeah, but you need a goalie to do that, because you might not make the playoffs with those two guys.
But this is what I'm saying, though, right? So if you can maneuver some stuff, like, you're wasting Sidney Crosby's last years here. The window is 2 to 3 years, and this is what you're going to give him. Like, I like Brock McGinn, right? Like, they brought him in at a decent rate. You know, they got rid of Tanev for the Kraken draft and the expansion draft. He was making way too much money for what he brought to the table. His contract still had 3 or 4 years left. Way too long, right? But are you kidding me, man? Like, this is all you do today for Sidney Crosby? Like, but again, they did not have cap space. They only had 7.9 going into today. There are a couple guys they're trying to get rid of to open up that cap space. But man, I'm telling you, like, everybody says, oh, Hextall, he keeps everything close to the vest. He's quiet. This
shit is what he is.
Buddy, listen.
If they would have had any brains, you're right. They would have put Gino on long-term IR.
Yeah.
Wait till the playoffs, let him rest and do it. That frees up all kinds of money for you. Even if you go get Holtby on a 1-year deal or somebody go get somebody proven. You're not going anywhere with those two goalies.
No. And the best is, like, Pittsburgh fans, oh, they won the division. They won the division in a pandemic year, okay? They're not playing an 82-game season. They played a 56-game season. Penguin fans realize this. I realize this, is that, listen, Jari was not great in the regular season. He stunk in the playoffs. He had DeSmith that covered his ass when Jari was bad in the regular season. So DeSmith played well, okay? But he's not a number one guy. Anyways, the Penguins, to me, and we'll get into this later on when we're going to go over the teams here in a bit here, winners and losers. But to me, what they did today, man, if I'm Sidney Crosby, I'm really second guessing. Unless Sid's just happy he has a country club, and maybe that's what he wants now. I'm not sure. So Casey Zizekas is still available. Alex Edler went to the Kings on a nice contract. 1 year was a good money contract, like 3.4 or something like that. I like that pickup the Kings did.
Yep.
You still have Zdeno Chara, still hasn't announced if he's coming back or not, retiring. He's still out there. Zojar Kahara went to the Blackhawks. Interesting pickup. I like him as a fourth line role from the Oilers. Zajak's still out there. Hamonic re-upped with the Canucks today. Another pickup, good pickup by the Kraken. Alexander Wenberg. I like the player. Young player, good player. 3 years, 13.5. Your Bernier went to the Devils. We talked about that. Good pickup. Another player that's interesting out there, that's a good player app that I think some teams will probably maybe give him more than he should get is Matthias Janmark. I like the player. I think he's got some third line, sometimes second line capability. Played well with the Knights in the playoffs. He's out there. David Riddick from the Toronto Maple Leafs went to the Nashville Predators for 1 year for 1.25. So that's basically the top 50 here up. When we look at the teams, I'm going to go down the list here, right? I don't know. You have a bunch of notes there. Is there anything you want to discuss that maybe you wrote down today that?
No, you're going to cover it right now. I just went through and teams that I thought that did well today and teams that shit the bed today. So we'll go through it now and I'll just answer your questions.
All right. And again, if I really want to dissect why you think these particular teams that we're going to discuss are winners and losers. And we'll get into that right now. Julian, I'm not sure if you're still on, if you're watching, bud. I'm not sure if you are or not. Because you thank you for getting up to 2 years, 7.6 million on Nick Foligno. I appreciate that. So we're going to start off with our division up, the Metropolitan Division, and we're going to start from the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Well, they signed Sean Corrali. He's about the only guy they signed, but they also lost Seth Jones and really didn't get much back for him. I think Columbus is a loser. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're not gonna be as good as they were last year, and they weren't any good last year. Right. So I don't think they're going anywhere.
Okay, we'll go to your beloved New Jersey Devils.
Like I said, with the Hamilton sign, it made them better. I think they're a better team than they were last year. Plus another year of Jack Hughes and Sharon Govich and guys like that in the league. Mm-hmm. I still think Fitzy's got something else going on. He's going to get a forward. I don't know who it's going to be. I'm thinking Palmieri Parise, or he's going to go after Tarasenko. I think the Devils are going to challenge for a playoff spot this year. I really do. I think they're going to be one of the teams under the radar. They're like the third or fourth worst odds team to win the cup. I think when we did the odds on a previous show. Yeah. To me that's ludicrous. I think they're much better than that. I think they're a borderline playoff team as is now. If they add another player, they could be even better than that. Yeah. I think they were winners this week today because they got the best player that was out there, I think.
Philadelphia Flyers, and I'm gonna these last two teams. I think Columbus loser. I think they're going in the wrong direction. New Jersey, I still think they're going to make more moves, and I do think. Listen, again, Pittsburgh and New Jersey played a number of games against each other last year. New Jersey gave them fits. They got some young players. They're drafting the right way. They're building the right way. I'm not just pumping your tires up. I like the direction. I like the management. The coach there, again, is up for the Devils.
Oh, God, I'm trying to Lindy Ruff.
Lindy Ruff, yeah. Because all I was thinking is the guy from Nashville that
that came from you guys.
Yeah, exactly. He was in the Wilkes-Barre system. Yeah. So so Lindy Ruff, I like where they're going. I think they're going in the right direction. Philadelphia, I like the moves they've done. I like the back end. They're a lot better now. I think they needed a change. Voracek leaving, switching jerseys, like you said, with Cam. I definitely like it. I think the Flyers made some interesting moves. They got some young talent up front. I think the Flyers are gonna. If Carter Hart can get his game back, I like the Flyers what they did. I really do. Yeah. I like Ellis. So they got some sandpaper with Roots Line, and I like it. I do.
Yeah, I think they
So
can challenge. They can challenge for the division if they
right,
get the play from Carter Hart, like you said.
right. So winner or loser, Philly.
Winner. I
Winner.
think they did a good job.
Winner, chicken dinner. I definitely agree with that one. Your enemy team, the New York Rangers. They were quiet today.
Well, they overpaid for Goodrow
Yeah,
to start out with,
yeah.
and they lost Buchnevich. I thought he was a good player from what I saw,
I like
and
that
they
too.
got rid of him for Blaz and a draft pick to St. Louis.
Yeah,
I think they're a loser because I don't think they're any better than they were last week,
right, right.
and I love saying that.
I think again, they got a great coach, Gerard Gallant. I think, and then they got Chris Drury again,
Yeah.
the new GM there. I'm not sure their plan. I'm sure they're going to try to go all in on Eichel as well. So that we'll see where that goes. But they haven't done anything, so I consider them a loser.
Yeah.
I think they also paid too much for Goodrow.
Yeah.
Interesting app though that third line for Tampa is all gone, right?
Yep. Went to Seattle, went to Calgary, and went to pieces of garbage.
So Teeps is chiming in again, app here. I used to like Apple until I saw the Devil's hat. What the fuck? Anyways,
the style of hat or the actual hat, Teeps? I actually bought this in Jersey when I went to Jersey.
yeah. Yeah, it's again, he's one of three guys that I've known in my life to like the Devils. But hey, the Cups, Lou, Brodeur, Stevens, what can you say, right?
Yeah.
The New York Islanders. You mentioned it before. Quiet. Big Lou is quiet today.
Yeah, they made a trade for Richard Panik and got him, but they traded away Letty. So they lost one of their defensemen. Yeah, I think they're losers too right now because they haven't done anything.
Yeah. So, I'm not going to say they are losers today, but they do have Trotzy and they have Lou. So I'm sure they're up to something.
Yeah.
Teep says retro hat. Definitely retro for sure. Washington Capitals.
Literally did nothing.
Nothing. They got back their goalie that they lost to the Kraken.
That's about it.
But that's it.
So they're the same team as last year.
Yeah.
Well, minus Chara right now.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think they're losers.
Yeah, I think they're losers. I think, you know what? They're a franchise that I'm not sure that GM. I'm not a fan of Lovely Ouellette. I don't know. I don't know. Carolina totally revamped the back end. Lost Dougie Hamilton. Brought in Ethan Bear. What are your thoughts on Carolina?
It's going to see how we'll see how they gel together, right? They brought in Ian Cole as well, who's a pretty good defenseman.
Yeah, sorry, Ian Cole. I really like Ian Cole. I think veteran leadership, cups, block shots with his face. I love Ian Cole.
Yeah, I think they've got some serious depth on the back end. Now it's a matter of the goalies. Can Rant and can they do it? They're going to be a work in progress.
Right.
If I had to rank them a winner or loser, based on just the volume of guys they got, and they basically lost Hamilton, I call them a little bit of a winner, but we'll have to wait and see. It's a work in progress to see if they can. They got 5 new guys on the D and the goalies. See if they gel together. We'll see what happens with them.
It's interesting. I'm just gonna say, I think I'm gonna give them loser, and the reason why I'm gonna give them loser is I really liked Dalkovich, right? The Dalkovich that went to the Red Wings. I thought he was going to be their up and coming number one, right? And then you go to 2 new goalies. I'm not sure, right? Watch Canes win the cup with Anderson. Julian says biggest FU to the Leafs. So I agree with you, Julian, on that. Hey, Julian, if you have Cap Friendly up, I'm not sure if you do, but can you just I have multiple screens. Can you check out what the cap hit is on Suter and Parise with the Wild? What they have to keep on paying them. Going on to the Atlantic Division, the Buffalo Sabres.
The Buffalo Sabres. Whether they win, they lose. Somehow they figure out how to win and lose. They didn't do anything. They lost Sam Reinhart. They gained Will Butcher.
Yeah.
They're no, they're definitely losers.
Yeah.
Definitely losers.
Yeah. Sad to see because they have crazy fans out there in Buffalo, right? So
Crazy fans. They've had good draft. They've had good players.
yeah.
So,
Interesting. The Detroit Red Wings.
you know what? I have them as winners. Detroit got Puis Suter from Chicago.
Yeah, that was
He's a pretty good player.
Yeah, buddy.
Between him and Nedeljkovic alone, I think they made some pretty good moves. And
Stevie Y.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He knows how to build them.
Right.
He knows how to build them. He was the architect of a lot of that Tampa Bay team.
Almost all of it, man. Almost all of it.
So Nick, basically on the cap.
Yeah.
So for Parise and Suter, they're 2.3 each this year.
Okay.
They get hit each.
Yeah.
6.3 each next year. 7.3 the year after that.
Holy smokes.
7.3 in the fourth year. Then it drops down to 833,000 for 4 more years. And that's each the numbers I gave you.
So the question though out of Minnesota then is something must have been not right in the room for this to go down, because you're taking that cap hit off what you can spend to make your team better every year. And Kaprizov might not even come back because he's wanting so much money too now. I love Billy Guerin. I would say 1 maybe, but to do 2.
Like you're talking 14.6 million for basically 3 years
in a row. In a row. Yeah.
That's, what is that? A fifth? No, about a sixth. A sixth of your cap is just dead money. Wow.
Crazy. Ottawa Senators.
They got minor deals. Got Del Zotto. Got Holden. Lost Dadenoff. I don't think they're a winner or loser. I just think they stayed even. So there'd be a loser if I had to give them one or the other.
Yeah, I think they're on the rebuild, young players. They brought in some vets. I would just say, I'm not even giving them loser or winner. Just Montreal Canadiens.
A winner. The 3 moves they made with Savard, Hoffman, and Paquette, I think improved them. I consider them a winner today.
For sure, I agree. I believe the Canadiens made some nice moves today. Mark Bergevin, again, people always give him the runaround because of his suits and everything like that. But he's done some pretty cool things there in Montreal, and I think that he continues to do that. It should be interesting. The Tampa Bay Lightning are no longer the team of the back-to-back champs. They got a new look now. They lost their whole third line. They lost Savard. They brought Bogosian in, right?
Yep, I got them as losers.
They lost Tyler Johnson.
They lost a lot of guys. Lost a lot of guys.
Yeah.
What are you on the same line?
I think losers. I think the cap really put the handcuffs on this team, and basically, it's 3-peat's going to be tough, really tough, right?
Yeah, I don't think if they don't do that bullshit last year, I don't think they win last year either.
Yeah,
because they would have been in the same boat. They would have had to lose a lot of guys.
Yeah, for sure. Boston Bruins pick up Nick Foligno. Allmark now is in the net. Who knows? I don't think Rask is coming back with given like we talked about.
Yeah. And Holla, they added Holla too.
Eric Holla, sorry, re-signing Taylor Hall.
Yeah, they lost Corrali.
Yeah,
but no, I think overall they were winners.
Yeah, me too. I like they're steady Eddie. They don't go after the big guys. They get the fill-ins, and the fill-ins do the job for them. The big signing is re-signing Taylor Hall, and you know Hall loves it in Boston supposedly. So, Florida Panthers, quiet.
They didn't do anything. I think they're losers. They lost Dredger to Seattle. Yeah. That's about it. They didn't pick anybody up at all.
Yeah.
So, loser for me.
Quiet loser. And then the Toronto Maple Leafs. And you know, I hate to shit on them all the time because I know we have a lot of viewers that watch this in their Leaf fans app, right? But I don't see what they're doing over there in the Rogers Center. I don't know. I think they're big time losers. What do you got?
Yeah, I agree with you too. They're big time losers. They lost with Hyman and Foligno. They lost guys that they could have re-signed and only to pick up Mrazek and lose Anderson. Yeah, they didn't make any positive steps at all today. They're negative.
Yeah. It's very, very, very interesting. Going to the Central, the Chicago Blackhawks, making the dirty move with Fleury, bringing in a couple role players. Tyler Johnson, I like that move. Jonathan Taves is coming back from his illness.
Seth Jones,
Caleb Jones as well.
They
right?
got Jake McCabe from Buffalo. They signed as well.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
Chicago's a big winner. I think they made a lot of good moves. They
Right.
improved their team, and God forbid if Fleury plays for them, they get even better.
Exactly. So, yeah, I give them a winner for sure. I think it's very interesting what Bowman's doing there. I guess, listen, he's doing what Mixter Hextall should be doing, understanding that Taves and Kane have a window here, right? And he's going to use that window, not like the Jabroni Hextall in Pittsburgh. Arizona. You know what I like to call the Arizona, not the Arizona Coyotes. You know what I like to call them? The Arizona Sabres.
Yeah, they're probably the Buffalo of out west.
Right?
I agree with you. They never seem to get anywhere. It doesn't matter who they have in the lineup. They traded for Taylor Hall a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Still didn't get it. Yeah, they picked up Dzingel and Strawman. That's it. Lost Ekman Larson. Lost Connor Garland.
And Garland's a player, buddy. Garland is a player, bud.
Yeah, that was a hell of a trade for Vancouver.
Yep.
I think that Arizona's a loser.
Yeah, big time. Big time. Dallas, Hopi. I heard, around 5:00 that Bishop has not announced his retirement, but this looks like it's heading back. I think they have 4 goalies on the roster right now. I definitely think that Dallas made Hopi. Who else did they pick up today? Anybody else?
They picked up Berlon's buddy, Glendening.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
They picked up Glendening, Suter, and Hopi.
Yeah, Berlon's probably drinking a beer tonight with a Dallas Stars cap on.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, for sure. So, what do you think with Dallas?
Minor winners, I guess. I think they overpaid for Suter. Glendenning's a pretty good player. Yeah. Holtby, we'll see what he brings to the table. I'm on the fence with them.
Yeah, me too. I think they made moves just to make moves. That's what it looks like to me, right?
I think Berlon went over to Brampton or wherever Sagan's living now.
Yeah.
I went and talked to him and said, I need you to get this guy for me. Talk to the GM.
Yeah, exactly. Right. He cashed in pretty good, though. I think he got like 2 point something, right? Something like that, yeah.
I don't have the exact. Yeah. I can look it up for you.
Yeah. St. Louis Blues, quiet. Crickets in St. Louis right now, right?
Nothing. They got Buchnevich from the Rangers, but they lost Hoffman.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Loser, really nothing.
But really nothing, like no activity, nothing being talked about. So I'm going to say loser because I think this division is getting better, right?
Yeah.
Nashville brought in Riddick. They lost Eric Hulla. Who did they sign today up? Do you have in front of you?
Predators? Who are we talking about? Sorry, Nick?
Predators.
They didn't sign anybody. They got Cody Glass in the trade in the 3-way with when they lost Ryan Ellis. Yeah. They didn't sign anybody at all today.
Yeah, so
they re-signed Granlund.
Mikael Granlund, and they brought in Riddick to back up over there, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to say loser. I think, and they lost Nick Bonino as well. He went to San Jose. I think this division is getting, like, if Chicago can be a surprise team, then you have Minnesota. I like, again, Minnesota, the direction they're taking. They didn't do anything in free agency today, did they?
They picked up Goligoski.
Yeah, Goligoski. 1-year deal, though, I believe it is, right?
Yeah.
I like Goligoski. Actually, he's a Penguins draft pick. He can work the PP. He can skate. He makes that one beautiful pass to break out. Not a bad player. So, and then you got. So, what do you think, Minnesota? I think really they're not winners or losers. I don't think today.
No, but I think with the buyouts that we discussed, I think they're going to be losers for a few years here.
So the buyouts makes them losers in the end, right?
Yeah, because I think they've handcuffed the organization for a while.
Yeah, because if you look at if it's 14 million, right, that they're paying for both next year and the year before, you only got like $64 million really to play with, right?
Yep, yep,
If the cap
yep.
doesn't go up,
Right.
so that's a lot of money, a lot of dough. Winnipeg Jets,
Solidified the back end like we talked about with Schmidt and Dillon.
yeah,
So I'd call them winners because they're a bit better.
right.
I think they got a bit grittier, a bit better. I think you said that you were impressed with them as well.
Yeah, for sure. I like the two moves, the 2D. So I say winner with the trades, and re-signing Paul Stastny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I say yeah to that. Colorado, Philip Grubauer takes off to Seattle. They make a trade this evening for Darcy Kemper. What do you think?
Like I said, Kemper may be a little bit better. Other than that, the skaters remain the same. They had a
Right.
good team to start out with. Re-signed Landeskog.
Yeah.
So I would call them a winner because I agree with you that Kemper's a bit better than Grubauer is.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they've improved themselves compared to last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I would call them a winner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, you know what? I think they're sort of like an even. They're not a winner. They're not a loser. They just sort of stayed where they're at, right? And my thing is though, App, is that they're so on the verge, and we talked about this before, of being a Stanley Cup contender. But to me, they haven't brought in that guy yet at the back end that can win you the cup. Agree or not? I don't know. Like, App again.
Yeah, it's a fair statement to make, but their hands are a little bit tied too, and somewhat like they've got a lot of money tied up in McKinnon, Landeskog, Rantanen.
Right.
They just signed Cale Makar. He got like $9 million. He got the same thing that Hamilton got. They got a lot of money tied up there.
So let me ask you this question then. Do you think the signing of Landeskog was the right move by the Avs, or would it be okay? You know what? We need to go get a number one goalie, like a guy either via trade or, the stud back there that can get us over the hump.
That's a tough question, just because Landeskog is, to me, he's so good, and his productivity is that you can bank on him being up there in the top echelon of the league in points. Yeah, I think, but who really of the goalies other than Rask would command that kind of respect that you would gamble losing Landeskog to grab?
So we're going to get into the Pacific Division here, and I'm going to say one goalie here that he doesn't get a lot of love because he plays out west, and everybody, unless you're a hockey geek like I am, watching this particular team at 10:30 starts. He's a guy that I would love to see in the black and gold. He is from Pittsburgh, and he is a sleeper goalie. Nobody talks about him. Pittsburgh media does. John Gibson. This guy is a stud. He just plays on a team that's in a rebuild here.
I agree 100% with you. This guy's a top goalie. I remember watching him on the U.S. team. He was phenomenal. He is a good goalie. And you're right. He's stuck there. He's stuck on a bad team.
A bad young team. Like to me, you look at the Avalanche here, and yes, you know what? I'm signing Landeskog. I think he's your captain. He's your guy. He plays that grit sandpaper game. My question to you, App, is this: Rantanen. Do you trade him? He had the 1 year where he won the Art Ross.
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you. I'm saying, do you trade him to open up cap space to get that stud?
But you got to make sure that stud is available, and you're going to get him.
Yeah.
Because
what I'm saying is, you trade him to Anaheim.
Trade him to Anaheim for Gibson.
Yeah.
I think Rantanen would be your guy, definitely over Landeskog. If you bring him up of the three, he's the most expendable because you're not getting rid of McKinnon. Right. And I think Landeskog's too valuable for them. So would I do that? Yeah, I would. I would sacrifice Rantanen because you can go get another guy. You can get another guy at half of Rantanen's price. That he's not going to give you as much, but he'll give you something else that Rantanen does.
Yeah, and I do think again, John Gibson reminds me of Carey Price. Up, this guy's in his prime of his career. He's on a rebuild now. Anaheim has a lot of good youth. Jamie Drysdale. You have Trevor Zegras. You have a lot of good players. Steele's out there. A lot of good players there. They will be an upcoming team.
Yep.
Not now, not next year, right?
Yep.
But the question, like, I don't know. We'll dive into the Avalanche when we get into teams in the next couple of weeks. But it's just interesting to me because they are still, like, if you're looking at Colorado, you still have to beat out the Vegases, right? Look at this. Let's say, for example, this, okay? Let's say Chicago, Fleury goes to play for Chicago, and they play the Avalanche. Fleury can steal you that series.
100%. 100%.
So I don't know if Darcy Kemper can steal you a series. I'm not sure. He hasn't shown, right?
Has Colorado tried calling Bowman out in Chicago and asking him, Fleury's not going to come play for you?
Yeah.
Kick tires on that.
Yeah.
Because if Fleury's not going to go play for Chicago, they might not take as much, knowing that they're just going to lose the asset, right?
Right.
I know Fleury's a great goaltender, but you might not have to give up a Rantanen.
He's such a nice guy that does he report? I don't know. Does he retire for 1 year? Who knows? But it's going to be we're going to call this on the Hockey Lounge the Fleury Watch in the next couple. Every time we have a podcast, Fleury will be discussed. It's going to be the Fleury Watch, and not because I'm a Penguins fan. It's just because of the dirty Vegas nights, what they did.
Yeah.
So we talked about Anaheim. Like, they're not even winners or losers. They're in rebuild, right?
Yeah. They didn't do anything. Status quo.
Yeah. San Jose.
Got Bonino. Got Nick Bonino. Got Reimer to back up because Jones went to Philly. They're the same. They're no winners, no losers.
Yeah. You know, the San Jose Sharks are a team where, you know, when you go to a restaurant and you look at the menu, and the menu is just blah. Yeah. They don't do the menu doesn't do anything for you, right? I don't know. The San Jose Sharks, you know, when they went to the Cup final in 2016, they had a little bit of swagger and whatnot, but it's just like they're just blah now. It's just I'm not sure what's happening in San Jose.
Yeah. They're just there.
Yeah, they're there, right? You know, the Vancouver Canucks.
I was impressed with what Vancouver did. I'm not just today, but I'm talking about including the trade for Ekman Larson.
Yeah.
The Yarrow Halak, like you touched on before, Connor Garland, and they even signed Luke Shen.
Did Luke Shen go there?
Oh, he reeks. Yeah, he's been on that's the second time he's been on Vancouver. He went back.
He did, eh?
Yeah, he's doing his second tour around the league now.
Is Drake Berehowski his partner?
Yeah. Oh, he's just coach too. He's player coach.
Player coach.
Bro, Luke Shen stinks. I don't know how he keeps getting a contract in this league.
Buddy, he's got 2 cups.
Yeah, he did a lot for them.
Oh, he did, man. Come on. The Los Angeles Kings, they made a couple of moves today. They re-signed what's his name? From the Red Wings, he went to from the Red Wings to LA. Big guy, 28. Andreas Anastasiou, I guess his name.
Oh yeah.
Signed him. What else did
Edler,
they do?
Signed Edler. Signed.
I like Edler, right? But again, they're another franchise. Are they in rebuild or what are they doing here? Right?
Yeah, they can't figure it out what they want to do. They're still hanging on to Kopitar. Doughty's still there. They can't figure it out.
Brown,
I think they want to use the window that they have with their core, but
that window's like Kopitar's he's a stud. I'd take him any day, right? Doughty he's still got lots of juice left. Jonathan Quick, he's on the back end. I would still listen if Hextall made a trade for Jonathan Quick to come to the Penguins, I would be happy. He's still an upgrade for a team that has mediocre goaltending. Like even the Leafs.
Yeah, right? They were looking at him. They were talking about Quick. Yeah.
I'm taking Jonathan Quick over Mrazek, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, for some reason, those Leafs always come up in this conversation. The Calgary Flames.
Blake Coleman. Overpaid for Blake Coleman. That's about all they did. They lost Giordano in the expansion draft.
Yeah.
I think they're worse off than they were before.
Yeah.
And at the end of last year, they traded Sam Bennett to Florida.
Yeah.
So I think they're worse. Now that we're going back to the regular divisions, I think they're worse
Yeah.
off.
They're another team that definitely is that blah team. Like you think that they're, we'll see what Sutter does with a full year there. I know that he's not crazy about some of the players that he has there, a little bit too finesse, whatnot. But they traded Sam Bennett, and he brings sandpaper. He's a great fit for the Panthers. So not sure there. The Vegas Dirty Knights, dirty.
Well, we know they lost Fleury. They basically picked up Dadenoff. I think losing Fleury's a huge blow.
Yeah.
If Leonard shits the bed at all, they got nothing there.
Not only that, just look at this, right? So Leonard, 27. Like, listen, he's got still like 10 years of hockey, but he does have the mental illness issue.
Yeah.
What if something like that comes up? God forbid it not, because I'm pulling for the guy because I think he's a great goalie. Yeah. But what if that comes up? What's their backup plan here? They signed the guy from the Jets, Boussois there. He's their backup now.
Yeah, I know.
So what happens? I don't know. I just, to me, but up and the viewers today, I think they're all in on Eichel. I think that's their play. They're all in on him.
For getting rid of Fleury's salary, they have to have something planned.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but also Eichel with his injury. What happens if he takes a huge shot and he's done?
Yeah. But they're after that number one center, and he's the prime candidate right now, right? And like you said, they dumped that salary, so crazy. I think they're losers for what they did, to be honest with you, and they're going to be losers all year on the Hockey Lounge, and continues to be losers. The Edmonton Oilers were really, really busy. Trades, signings. What are your thoughts? This is the final team. What are your thoughts?
I think the Oilers did a good job. I think they're a bit better. They got some sandpaper and Hyman again, another guy they overpaid for, but signed Cody Ceci on the back end as well. Not a flashy defenseman, but a defensive defenseman.
Right.
Cheaper. They had to get rid of Bear to make some room, so he's steady. I think Edmonton might be a little bit better than last year.
I'll tell you one thing again. Watching Ceci every game last year. No, I'm going to be honest with you. My nickname was, I used to call him Bobby Ceci, because he wore number 4, right? But I'm telling you, Ab, this guy was a stud. Steady Eddie, not flashy, hard on the puck. He had a really great bounce back year from the previous year with the Leafs. He got paid a little bit too much. Hextall said, I couldn't compete with that salary, but that is a big blow to the Penguins. And again, Hextall, I'm not sure what you're doing there, buddy, but this is not the black and orange. We actually win in Pittsburgh. So the Oilers, winners or losers?
I think they're winners.
Yeah. Craig Button on TSN today, he went off on, because they changed the whole right side of the Oilers. And, he was comparing, like the Adam Larson loss compared to picking up like Cody Ceci. He went off on that. Do you think they got better on the back end, or it's just sort of like they brought in Duncan Keith a couple weeks ago, but do you sort of think this is sort of like a Band-Aid? Like they didn't make that huge, well, they couldn't because of the cap hit, but it's sort of like one guy goes in, and you get the same guy. Sorry, one guy goes out, you get the same guy in.
But I think you got better defensively. You've got Tyson Barrie and Darnell Nurse who like to push the play and like to move forward. I think Larson, for me, I said it on a previous show, I've seen him play when he was with the Devils. He's slow. He's slow in his own end. He's more of an offensive defenseman. I think Edmonton was trying to shore up their own end with these moves. So, right. Darnell Nurse, Tyson Barrie, you go get us the points. We need to make sure that our back end is taken care of. And like you said, Ceci, when I said Ceci reeked, I said it because of when he played for the Leafs.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was just this market that it just brings out the worst in some players, just because every mistake you make gets harped on forever and ever and ever. Like Larry Murphy's the classic example. The fans booed him out of town, and he went to Detroit and won cups, and he was a Norris Trophy winner.
Yeah, yeah,
So I think it really helps Edmonton that they're securing the back end.
yeah. Burlon, what's going on, bud? We'll get you back on the lounge in a week or so here. Oilers are doing smoke and mirror tricks, 100%. I do agree with you. The biggest question I have with the Oilers is, again, who is in net? Mike Smith and the other, what's his name? Condon?
Koskinen.
Koskinen. Yeah, Koskinen. Like, are you kidding me, man? And that's another thing. Like, if I'm the Oilers, I'm knocking on Stan Bowman's door. Hey, think Fleury might come to Edmonton, right? He also has another comment here. Tyson Barrie only exists when McDavid and Draisaitl are on the ice. So he's going off on the Oilers, Burlon. But Burlon, how's that Dallas Stars cap that you got on tonight? Did Luke send you a cap or what? He cashed in. Today's payday for Luke Glendening with Dallas. So again, solid two-way player, wins faceoffs, does the job. App, any last comments here at the end of the night? We've been going live here for an hour and a half. We went over trades, we went over free agent signings. There's still a lot to be discussed in the next couple of days. We will be coming back live. If something goes down big in the next 72 hours, maybe we'll get on for about half an hour. We'll talk about it. If not, we'll be back next week reviewing the daily news and notes of the NHL. But any final comments here for our viewers?
It was a crazy day. I'm sure everybody went to that with the amount of guys, the amount of money, and I'm sure this next week is going to be just as crazy. There's still a lot of guys, free agents out there, a lot of guys still talking trade. I don't see Tarasenko going back to St. Louis. He's going to end up somewhere. You got Parise still out there, Palmieri still out there, Cizikas. There's still a lot of work to be done with these shaping of these teams.
For sure. And I think, today was a crazy day. Just to throw out the numbers again, over 100 players signed, 192 years given on contracts, over $540 million given out. No pandemic, GMs like to spend. My final thought on today's signings, I think there was a lot of money given to, if you look at this free agency today, there was a lot of money given out to role players, guys that are, bottom six, guys that are bottom four lines. We didn't talk about Pizza Man, Philip Deneau going to the Kings, $5 million. So a lot of money going to role players. So if you're a role player, cash in the next 72 hours. It'll be interesting to see tomorrow because, like you said, there's a lot of big names out there still to be signed. Can't wait for tomorrow. Today was awesome. Thanks for coming to the lounge today. Awesome show. To all of the viewers out there, again, if you're viewing us, hit that subscribe button below. Follow us on Instagram, the Hockey Lounge. It was a crazy day for Instagram posts. I fell behind, but you got your information tonight. It was crazy. Watch for us next week. If anything does develop over the next 72 hours big, we will come live to you. Again, we just hit 100 subscribers. So thank you to all the viewers, subscribers. Really appreciate it. Have a great night, and we will see you if anything comes up. Stay safe. Good night, everyone.